Boom. It is now recording. It's 3:05 on Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. This is a grit informational call, so I appreciate you guys being here. It's awesome to see everybody that's on the call live. If you're listening on replay, thanks for tuning in. There will be a test at the end if you're listening to this on replay. People that are here live get a pass because it looks like you're all listening. So we're going to start a little bit of an overview of what Grit's about. We're going to introduce the coaches. Then we're going to go over a little bit of the schedule, go over uniforms, and answer any questions. So that's a little agenda. But my name is Brant Miner. I think I know most of you, but if you're watching this on replay, I started Grit in 2021, coming out of the pandemic. I've been running club teams since I was coaching down at Southern Oregon University in 2010. So I had the Oregon Stars, and then the pandemic hit. It's tough to be a basketball coach when you can't get into a gym. But luckily my wife works as a teacher, so she kept her job. But coming out of the pandemic, I really wanted to emphasize or help kids. I know I loved my club basketball experience playing down in Southern Oregon. And so I started Grit just really to help create memories, experience, give kids that are looking opportunities for exposure. I try not to hype that piece because that's what every other club team is selling, that they're going to get their kids exposure and all this, where I like to talk about development and experience. I want our players to have a positive experience, develop lifelong friendships and relationships, and get better, not only as players, but as people. So we do a lot more than just basketball. So this is not your typical roll it out and let them run up and down and play fives and call it a development team or an exposure experience. We really believe in trying to do more. So that's why we have these Zoom calls. We'll do these during the season to help the kids get to know each other, players to connect, build that team chemistry. So I've been a college coach most of my life, recently transitioned into a missions counselor. So now I recruit not just the good hoopers, but I help all the students at Pacific University. So we're going to get to meet the coaches now before I go into our acronym. But I know they're doing lots of stuff going on. So I'm going to pass it. Let's see. Joel Jesse looks like he's at the pool. Joel is a Grants Pass guy. I watched him play when I won't say how much older he is than me, but my brother was his age. So I got to see Joel play with my brother at Grants Pass High School. He'll be coaching our 15U team, which we're going to call the Black team. So, Coach
Did I lose you, Brant?
Joel Jesse, what's going on, man? Are you Joel? Is that really
Yes.
at the pool, or is that just a fancy
No,
backdrop?
I'm really at the pool. It was 117 degrees yesterday, and today is about 100-ish. So here in Arizona, visiting my 25 and 24-year-old and helping with a couple things down here in Arizona right now.
Awesome. I know everyone's trying to do the math. They're like, he can't be old enough to have a 25-year-old daughter. He started young. He's not that old of a guy. But Joel, tell us a little bit about why you wanted, or why the first thing about why we started this conversation about you jumping on, and kind of what you're excited about for this club experience.
I just kind of, I've been coaching high school for the past 13 years, 9 years at the varsity level. And I really feel like at least Southern Oregon was missing the boat on on a lot of development for our kids. I really feel like Salem North really has the top tier athletes in basketball because they have the opportunities to play whenever they want. They can play the best basketball within a 45-minute drive. And that didn't used to be the case, when Brant and I played down in Southern Oregon. We always had a team or two ranked in the top 5 in the state, always competing. And that's not the case anymore. And kind of my biggest reason why I wanted to help and grow Team Brant. I know Brant, he's got a lot of experience, and I wanted to be part of helping kids develop better outside of high school basketball. And so that's my reason. My reason is to help teach kids to play the right way. Mainly on the defensive side. For me, I'm a really big defensive coach. I think a lot of the kids that play at the AAU elite club level, they know how to score to a degree, but I don't think a lot of kids, from what I've seen, play defense the right way. And that's kind of my specialty, is teaching kids how to do that. And then the other thing is, what I'm excited about, Brant, is I think there's a lot of the mental game that kids today play, especially after COVID. I'm really, really excited to teach kid how to handle diversity when they don't have a game where the ball's going in the hole. Teach them that there's a lot of different facets of the basketball game, and teach them that when the ball's not falling, there's so many aspects of the game of basketball that they can contribute to help their team in a positive way and in a positive manner.
Right. I love that. There is lots of ways you can contribute. Scoring is one of them, but we really like to try to celebrate guys in their role. So whatever your role is, we want you to be the best at that. So not everybody's the one that gets to score 30. If you can score 30, do it. Don't do it on 30 attempts, but definitely there's more to the game than just scoring. So, like I said, though, I like scorers, but I also like guys that play hard and defend too. We're definitely not a club team that just runs up and down trading baskets. So thanks, Joel. I appreciate you joining. That is a great thing about Zoom, is no matter where you're at, you can chime in and tune in. Unless you're playing in the game, which a lot of guys are today at the Oregon team camp. So that's why we're missing a few. We're going to go. We have a 30-second video from our next coach before we get to Coach Lunt. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is going to be Coach John Willis. Coach Willis will be coaching our blue team. He's one of my best friends, one of the really good guys in this world. Came from Florida, moved up, got a assistant coaching job at Willamette University, where he was for 4 years, and then he went to Linfield for 2. And then he got his first head college coaching job at South Puget Sound Community College, where he was for a couple years. The guys that know him know he brings the juice. He brings energy that is rarely, if any, rivaled. He definitely has a passion for life and a zest that is recognizable right away. So we're going to go ahead and show this video. Hopefully we can hear it.
Hey, Brian, I don't think anyone can hear it.
Nobody could hear that. Nobody could hear that. Was it no volume? Oh, sad. He said, I'm going to bring the juice. No, he just said that he's from Florida. He's looking forward to helping develop all the players. That's the summary. If you don't know Coach Willis, you're going to love the guy. He is a really solid man. Um, and then, yeah, I'm looking forward to hanging out with him this summer too. So the next coach that I'm going to introduce is the coach of our pink team. The pink is our top team, our 17-18U squad. Coach Lunt has been a head college coach coming up on 20 years. A head college coach for 20 years. And I know you guys are looking at him too and thinking, how did this guy get 20 years of head college coaching experience when he looks like he's about 30 years old? But Coach Lunt is the head coach at Pacific University. He got the job there about 7 years ago. I started coaching with him that first year. I knew Coach Lunt through Max Hoops. He'd come to our camps that I put on, and I just always admired and loved his energy and his spirit. And so when he got the job down here in Oregon, he left Puget Sound and came down to Oregon. I joined his staff. So got to work with him, beside him for 5 years on the sideline there at Pacific. And then when I started this club, I was trying to find the best coaches I could. And I kind of just threw out a long shot to a head college coach I don't know any other programs that have a 4-year head college coach directing them. And I was like, Coach, what would you think about coming out and helping with grit? And I roped them in a couple years ago, and he's been with us since. So, Coach Lunt, you want to unmute? Maybe I gave a little bit of a background, but maybe a welcome and what you're looking forward to.
Hello, families. Hope everyone's doing great. Enjoying the Sunday afternoon. Um, uh, just real quick. I know Brent kind of gave a little bit of an overview. I absolutely love what Grit's all about. And my schedule is already pretty darn busy with recruiting and all the things I already have to do. But I think the purpose of this program, it really, I want to make time for it because I think it's more than just what you typically see out of a club, out of an AAU program. There's a lot more behind the scenes that I think add extreme value for your student athletes as far as full development. And I think that what Grit's about is mirrors what we try to do with our program and what we're about as a program. Um, this is more than just, like I said, playing basketball. This is about full development as a player with mindset. I know Joel spoke on that earlier. And those are the things that add extreme value to the development of these young men and moving forward with obviously goals and aspirations of wanting to play at the next level or play as high as they can. And so I think that's what is so special about this program. The other thing I love about it is, and I was in part of Brandt's recruiting of me was that I wanted, if I was going to do it, I was going to coach our our team like I would coach our college team. And so, we keep it very real. We keep it very honest. Obviously, building confidence and building a mindset to handle adversity and the ups and downs that this game is always bringing is something we're going to do. But I just love the fact that I don't have to sugarcoat anything with anyone, and I just keep it real, and we just keep it real, which I think's really important. If you're having aspirations of playing at the next level, as far as college goes, it's not. I always say this: when you get to the next level, it's a lot different than high school because high school is a lot of fun. College isn't a lot of fun. College is very rewarding, but there's a big difference between fun and rewarding. And it becomes a job when you do get to the next level. Even at our level where we don't have athletic scholarships, it's still 24/7, 365 days. You are working to better yourself, not only as a basketball player, but as a student, and then grow as a young man. Stepping into what we always talk about with our guys is, they come in as freshmen, and in these 4 years, our goal is to help them try to figure out what the next 40 years looks like. So that's not just all about bouncing a basketball and going to class. There's a lot more to it. So it's a great program. I love it. I love what Brand stands for and what he's about. And we're going to get after it. I really enjoy the summer a lot more than I do the spring. I still love the spring, don't get me wrong, but I feel that the thing about the summer is there's not a lot of other things going on. And so we get to spend a little bit more time developing them rather than with our practices that we have in the spring, school, you know, proms, other events going on, that are school related, or in the summer, we get to spend a lot of time just helping them get better, as basketball players. And that's what I enjoy the most is the individual development. Obviously coaching games and doing that stuff's fun too, but helping players get better is really what I enjoy so much about the summer. So grateful to be back again, and looking forward to meeting everyone. And I am as helpful in any sort too. I mean, I think that's the other piece about this is I'm not the men's basketball coach at Pacific. I'm the grit coach. And so obviously, we've had some players that have played in grit that have come and played for me. We've got some players that, we're recruiting with our grit team. We've got some players on our grit team that are going to be playing with us in the fall. But my job's to be a resource. And so I'm here to help. I'm here to answer questions. Um, you know, if you've got anything that you need, families, players, whether it's community college, Division III, Division II, Division I, NAIA, pretty well connected. Been doing this a pretty darn long time. But my job's to help you all, and help you, find what you want to do. I bring up one of our players played for us last summer, Lane. Um, very close to the family. He's actually going to Linfield, and that breaks my heart. But that's the best thing for him, and it was the best fit for him, and that was part of my job as his AAU coach was to help him find a place to play. Um, and like I said, it does break my heart that he's going to Linfield. But like I said, that's the best fit for him and his family. And there's a lot of things that went into it that made it work for him. And so I'm super excited for him and super pumped. But that's part of, like I said, what our jobs are. Working for Grit is to help you, find the best fit for you. After you get done playing high school basketball. So I'm excited. Thanks for everyone for showing up. I really wish I was sitting in 116-degree heat. That is my cup of tea. I'm a Southern California guy, so anytime I can get warm weather, I love it. So, Joel, I'm jealous. Enjoy that weather. But thanks for having us on, Brant. And that's all I got.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Really good guy right there. Drastically underpaid for what he does for our program. So really appreciate you, Coach Lunt. We have a couple dads that have joined us that have players in the program. So instead of just the coaches talking about the program, I asked shaky Wi-Fi, shaky Wi-Fi. Technology can be great, but it can be frustrating at times too. So I'm gonna pass it over to Joe. Joe, son, Kaysen, played with us last summer, played with us this spring, and is back now this summer. One of the top shooters in the state of Oregon. Joe, give us a little bit of background, or maybe just a little bit about why you guys decided to stick with Grit.
Yeah, you got me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, first of all, Kaysen's not here. Like you mentioned, he is at the U of O camp, or else he'd be here as well. But um, yeah, I mean, I think you kind of the main thing for us is definitely the coaching. I think I don't know if you've said it in this call, but you've said it before. It truly is second to none. I haven't experienced any other AAU programs that have this level of college coaching, college experienced coaching. And you can see it, on the court. It's not just lip service. You can see it in the way that the kids play together. It's you always hear it's we, not me. But that is uh really evident watching the kids play. You see other teams go out there and you can tell it's just a team put together to highlight dunks and things. And I've seen us go out and beat teams like that. I think about I think Auburn last year, Memorial Day. I remember the team we went up against, they had already won the championship game in their minds, and we went out there and beat them. And I was shocked too, to be honest. And they had already won in my mind too, because it was like kind of our first experience with Grit, and I just didn't, I didn't really know what to expect. And we went out there and beat them. And I remember their coach went up to our boys after the game and said, "Man, thank you guys for kicking their butts." He said they really needed that. And that was crazy to me. I've never seen that before, where the opposing coach is thanking our boys for beating their team, because it really humbled them and showed them that you can't just show up and win. You've got to play. You don't know who you're going against. And yeah, that was a pretty cool experience. Um, and yeah, I think the opposite. I've seen, the team. get down 20 points at the half and come back and win. Um, so it doesn't always look really good to begin with, but the team has no quit in them. They do a really great job of rallying back and staying as a team, staying grounded, not getting frustrated with each other. They believe in each other, and I think that is not only the coaching but also just a testament to the team brand that you build. And you do a really great job selecting kids and parents who are, the parents are always very supportive of each other as well. You'll never see, I haven't ever seen parents, getting frustrated or anything, which I have seen with other teams. You see that quite a bit. So also great parents. We have a lot of friendships that we've built in the last year with kids and parents. So good stuff.
Awesome, Joe. I appreciate you jumping in there.
Yeah.
I surprised him. I was like, "Hey, Joe, I'm gonna get you on the call today." But Kaysen is a tremendous shooter, but a great young man. Um, so thanks for coming, Joe. And he's right. That's something I really try to do is find good kids and good families, because the old saying, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree." Right? So if I'm recruiting parents that are in there and coaching their kids too much, that's not your guys' job as parents. Parents get to be parents. We're the coaches. So the best thing that I advise parents to say after a game, man, I love to watch you play. And then move on. Don't try to critique, don't try to judge. Let them talk about it. Let them bring it to you if they have questions. But I think I like that Joe said that sometimes we're down, but we don't quit. And that's something, if you walk in the gym, I don't want you to be able to tell whether we're the team that's up 30 or down 30 with our effort. If we're up 30, we're still playing hard. We're not just messing around and fast breaks, flipping up crap. We're still playing hard and we're playing together. And we might be down 30. Sometimes we'll run into those teams and shots aren't falling and we get blitzed, and that's just part of it. So play hard and play together. Coach Lunt, you got something to add to that?
Yeah, and if we do quit, we're hitting the track for the rest of the day. So just to kind of give you a heads up on that.
And he's not joking either. And that's something that I know that's why I have families pay up front. Everybody does pay. Even Joe paid. It's not like I'm paying him to say this stuff. But I still have everybody pay, just because we don't want coaches to feel like they're coaching on eggshells. And there's lots of programs, families, kids that are quick to jump ship. When the going gets tough, they quit. And that's okay. We've had kids quit grit before, but they're not back, and it's tough when kids can't make the commitment. But we have kids in this program that were coming from Hermiston, Enterprise, which Enterprise, if you guys don't know, look at a map and see how far that is from Forest Grove, Oregon. That's a 6-hour one-way trip. So we don't judge missed practices all the same. If you live right down the street and you miss practice, that's judged differently than if you live 5 hours away. So everything's a case by case example, and we want to try to coach kids where they're at, not necessarily treat all kids the same. Some kids have a little more leeway because they do show up, they're engaged. Coaches do have a few favorites, and it's usually the kid that shows up early, that dives on the floor, that takes charges, that rebounds, that does things like wear a Max Hoop shirt to a call. Just little things that kind of perk kids up in coaches' eyes. So there's little things you can do to win over coaches for sure. But we also have Dave Miller on the call. Dave's son, Zachary, played this spring with us. He's a freshman. So a little different perspective, was on Coach Willis's blue team this spring. So Dave, tell us a little bit about your experience with grit.
Yeah, thank you, Brent. Hello, everybody. Great to be here. We had an awesome spring season. Yeah, I guess I'd say a couple quick things. Like coaching, just been amazing. The bar is just as high. If you're a junior or a senior and you're a returning player, or if you're more of a developmental freshman, kind of like my son. And we just had an amazing experience. I think one thing that jumped out, being able to observe open practices, I think that was great as a parent. Um, a differentiator that I see with this program compared to others, watching the practice and just seeing coaches maybe even pause practice and quickly, right, and appropriately explain the why, explain strategy. And you actually see, I just talking with my son Zach afterward, increased IQ for, increased basketball IQ from understanding why. Why did coach stop that, and why were they getting on me for this or that? So it's intense, but you're learning, and it's really efficient as well. And then I'd say maybe to get a little bit more specific about my son, Coach Willis and Coach Bolger was another coach on his team in the spring. And one area that he really improved was on defense. I know Coach Jesse was talking about defense. That was really stressed in the spring as well. And I recall one game in particular, Zach had done something in a game, maybe kind of got beat. They pulled him out of the game, and he got coached up, and he got very specific coaching on what to do. Something along the lines of be very physical, anticipate and beat the guy to the spot, and stick your chest out and don't give ground. You gave ground and you let him win, right? So what happens? Zach goes back in the game, and I'll be darned, next time down the floor, the situation comes up and he does exactly what he was coached up. And I kid you not, a timeout is called the next possession, and the whole team, led by Coach Willis and Coach Bolger, it's like rah rah, look what you just did, right? And so I point to this because A, it was a big area for Zach personally to develop, but B, when Brent is saying things like, not everybody's going to be the 30-point scorer. Everybody's got a role. And for Zach in that particular moment, they needed that physical defense. And when it's celebrated the way that it was, it's just awesome, right? Like you're celebrated maybe if you're the guy that gets 30, and you do the little intangible things that actually help you become a better basketball player. It's celebrated. Um, I guess the final thing I'd say, just as a now going back, just as a parent and observing tone from the top and the coaches, there's a lot of intentionality around the culture of the program. And that shows up in terms of how the players interact with each other, whether it's in person, whether it's on Zoom. And just as a parent, when it's just unheard of. Like I watch how these guys respect each other, how they play together, how they have fun together, but they take things seriously, and they act like this time is super valuable and I'm going to get the most out of it that I possibly can. I don't see that everywhere. So those are a few things that have really stuck out to us about the grit program.
Awesome, Dave. I appreciate you sharing. Um, yeah, I appreciate you hearing that and sharing that story about Willis and Bulger and pulling players aside. And just because you come out doesn't mean you're not going back in. But there is times in the heat of the moment when you need to be coached. Um, and we try to, not have kids question in the moment. There's certain times when it's not a democracy, right? It's coach's way, but then you're always welcome to come up afterwards and ask questions about, well, why did we do that or what happened? But yeah, we try to coach because we're not going to get a whole lot of time together. And that's why we do the Zoom calls. And I try to build that chemistry and camaraderie. So that way, when we do get together and play, they play hard and they play together because they've seen each other on Zoom. We've done the trivia, we've had scavenger hunts. They've laughed about the two truths and a lie that they do. Just kind of have fun, get to know each other, and then that creates less jealousy. And I've seen jealousy tear apart teams where the eighth player thinks they should be the second scoring option. And that's something for me that as long as we play hard and play hard and play together, you're hearing me say that a lot because those are the things that I really care about. Winning and losing, like, don't get it wrong, I want to win. Let's not get this too twisted. But ultimately, that's not how we measure our success as a program. Obviously, it's fun when we win tournaments and win championships and we have won rings and t-shirts, but Those are a byproduct. That's the outcomes when we're really focused about the inputs. Process over outcomes, process oriented, not outcome driven. So those are some of the things that we really emphasize are the playing hard and playing together. We also do have Melissa on the call. I don't know if Melissa, if you want to, I didn't warn you or anything, but if you want to say anything about Mitch's experience, Melissa, I see you're scrambling with the thumb trying to get unmute. Uh-oh, we'll see. If you can't unmute it, no problem. You can give us either like a 2 thumbs up or a thumb sideways or 2 thumbs down, and I can cover up your screen. Let's see.
Hey,
there we go,
go.
Melissa. We can
so
hear you.
good.
We can hear you.
I'm so good at
And
this
look at that. She
technology.
knows. We do ask the players to pivot their phone because see how hers is filling the screen and like Joel's is only like a strip in the middle. Same with Max. So Melissa's been coached before, and see Joel's coachable too. He just flipped him sideways so that way it fills the whole screen. Melissa, you want to tell us a little bit about Mitch's experience?
Yeah, so Mitch had an amazing experience. He is really looking forward to being back for summer. The coaching is great. The culture is amazing. The kids it's all just a great group of kids, great group of coaches. Brant is obviously a great guy as well. So anyway, he's happy to be here and really excited to get back after it.
Awesome. Thanks,
yeah.
Melissa. I appreciate that. I know
Thank
if you
you.
have more, I know I didn't make you prepare anything. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I'm so bad on the spot. No, just we appreciate you guys more than you know. So anyway, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. You did great on the spot. And we do try to put our players in uncomfortable situations because that's one of the quotes we use is get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stretch your comfort zone. Growth happens at the edge or outside your comfort zone. So if you're always doing what you're used to doing, it's like a balloon. If it never gets expanded, it's never going to stretch. So we do sometimes have Zoom calls. Players are going to have to talk to each other. They're going to have to communicate. We do stuff on text. So players will be texting. So out of respect for everybody's time, we'll keep moving on. I'm going to explain this acronym. It's an acronym. There could be little dots right here because an acronym, a word that stands for other words. So the G in grit is for gratitude. So I'm really big on gratitude, being thankful and appreciative of getting to play basketball, getting to be a part of a program, a family. So you never know when it's going to be taken away with an injury. Hopefully nobody gets hurt, but the game can be taken away with a pandemic. We learned that too. It can be taken away by not making a team. So we talk about being thankful to show up every day you get up. It's a good day or a great day. There are no bad days. Good days or great days. It's about perspective. And so being thankful and showing gratitude is important. The R, resiliency. Resiliency. So how do you bounce back? How do you handle adversity? That speaks volumes about your character. It's easy to be a good teammate when you're winning. How do you handle setbacks? How do you handle your team's down? Do you still huddle up? Do you still get your guys together and huddle up on free throws? Are you staying positive? How you bounce back says more about you than if nobody watches movies where the person just has it easy. Nobody would watch Rocky if he wasn't the underdog. So how do you handle bouncing back? And the I, intensity, Max. It's intensity. Because I'd rather be thought of as a little overly intense than lukewarm. Yeah. So that's why when I show up, I try to bring my best every day because I'm just meeting some of you guys and I don't want you guys to get off the call and be like, that guy's kind of ho-hum, just kind of I'm a passionate guy about things I care about, which is grit, my family, education. There's lots of things that I'm passionate about, but I want to show up every day with a little bit of intensity. And the T, there was a few that we thought about for the T, but togetherness. Togetherness, one program, one team. It's about being, we're trying to create lifelong friendships. We've had players that are going off to be roommates in college. On my previous program, we've had kids that are groomsmen in each other's weddings, and creating those friendships is really important. And you might not mesh with all, we're going to pick 30 guys, 26 to 30 guys this summer on the 3 teams. So there's going to be kids that you didn't know before. There's kids from Grants Pass and Phoenix and Hidden Valley and Lake Oswego and West Linn. So there's kids coming from all over. So that's where we're really trying to get the kids to know each other. Makes it fun so you can follow each other on Instagram or Ticker Talks or the Snappy Chats or whatever those social media things kids are on. See, I like Joe because he laughs at those stupid jokes. Tyler's like, dude, I've already heard. You have 31,000 followers on Instagram. You know it's not called InstaFace. But I'm gonna let Tyler say something. Tyler's a player's perspective. So we heard from the coaches, we heard from the parents. Tyler, I'm gonna call on you on the spot. Didn't warn him. This is not something he's planned a speech out for. But Tyler, tell us a little bit about why you're back this summer.
Yeah. I had a really good time this spring. Obviously, there's the basketball component. Coach Lunt is probably the best coach I've ever played for. Um, he's hard on you, but he explains things well, and he makes sure that you have what you need, and he keeps in touch with you, and he does all the right things. And then just as a person, I met a lot of new people. Like, especially being from Lake Oswego, there's only like so many people who you meet here, but I met a lot of new people with a lot of new experiences, and that was like a great opportunity for me off the court. And then obviously on the court, I had a great time this spring too.
All right, Tyler, way to step up. Nice. Appreciate that, Tyler. Thank you. So I know Tyler could do it. I'm sure Gavin has all these nailed now, Cooper. So I'm not even gonna call on Max because I know Max has these all down, just nailed, ready to go. But when we do our Zoom calls, we will have the players bring something to write with, a notebook, because you might think you're gonna remember stuff, but sometimes things go quick and you might not remember everything. So taking notes is a good life skill. Having a notebook. I have 3 notebooks, one for academic stuff at Pacific University, one for basketball stuff, and one for side hobby stuff that I do. So it's good to keep track of things, but gratitude, resiliency, intensity, togetherness. Nice. I saw Gavin lipping the words along with me. And if we forget, it's okay. We'll just do some cardio to remind you during practice of what they mean. So, but I'm sure the guys that are on this call will remember. Let's see. So the plan, we'll do some local practices in Medford. We'll do a few up here in the Portland area. And then we're going to play in 3 tournaments, 2 in Portland, 1 in Las Vegas. So we'll have practices in Forest Grove, actually, at Visitation, the Catholic school there in Forest Grove. And those ones we'll go the third or the Fridays before the weekend tournaments in Portland. That's where we'll get everybody together. So we'll go Friday, the 11th will be the first time in Portland with everybody together. And then the 12th and 13th is a Portland tournament. Sadly, I don't know where the games are yet. We'll know the week of. So if you're from out of the area, I apologize about the planning, but it kind of depends on schedule till that. Usually it's Tuesday. So like Tuesday the 8th, we would know where we're playing at least the first day of the tournament. 12th, 13th, then Zoom call that week. Then the 18th is another Friday that will be up in Portland before the 19th and 20th tournament. And then we will go to Vegas. That is the be ready to play 8 a.m., 9 a.m. on the 25th. So the tournament will go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tough thing is games could go up until 4 o'clock on Sunday. So I know that's kind of tricky for some people that were wanting to get earlier flights out, but it's one of those where we don't really know. So it's always tough because if you make the championship and everyone's got a flight out, that's not a good look. But so it's 8 a.m. would be the first game on the 25th. Last game would be 4 o'clock on the 27th. So 3 days. My plan is to fly down the 24th, and then I'm going to come back Monday morning. So I'm going to be down there 4 nights, 24th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, fly back to 28th. We're working on a hotel. We have some help. Miranda Lariz has been helping doing some research on Vegas hotels. We're looking at Treasure Island as one of them that it'd be cool if we could get most of the team together at the same place, but that is not a requirement. So if you have timeshares or you're really have a lot of Hilton points saved up or Airbnbs. Also, I know I just reserved an Airbnb for Coach Willis, Coach Jesse, and myself. Coach Lunt, I think, is going to be in a hotel, probably the Encore or the Wynn, maybe the Bellagio. No, I'm joking. That's coming out of Pacific's budget. That's a D3 budget. But so you guys are welcome. Once we get everybody picked, the next thing to think about, though, those 3 tournaments are in July, June 29th. So 7 days, exactly 7 days from right now, we're going to be meeting at Bushnell University in Eugene. It's pretty much on the U of O campus, the small private NAIA Christian University. And we were able to get in that gym from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock next Sunday. So if you can, please try to be there. I know some people have stuff going. I know we're all busy. So I don't mind if you have to miss things as long as you communicate with me and the coaches. I don't think the 17-year-old's basketball schedule should rule the family calendar. I don't mind if people have stuff going and have to miss, but don't make it, well, I was playing 2K for 4 hours, so I was a little tired, so I had to miss practice. Like, that's not going to fly. But if you let me know, there's people that have let me know ahead of time. Harrison, how many times are you going to enter into the room here? I see 3 Harrisons in the room right now. But there is times when you have to miss things, and I get it. I have to miss things. I have a family. I have 2 young kids. That's why I'm not a coach. That's why I'm the assistant coach and the director, is because there's times that I have family obligations and I can't be at everything. And sometimes I'll be with Maggie. Sometimes you have to keep your eyes on her because she'll dart out on the court and trying to take charges, breaking up fast breaks. And then Jack's my 3-year-old. He's a little more mellow than my 7-year-old daughter, but they come with me to the games. Jack loves to listen in on the huddles. I try to cover his ears at times, but no, it's a lot of fun. I love this. This is something I love to do. This is kind of like my Super Bowl. I look forward to these Sunday calls, and this is something I'm passionate about, helping boys to men, not the music group. I know some of you guys are thinking about Motown Philly, but not Boys to Men, the music group. Kids are like, who's Boys to Men? I have no idea what this guy's talking about anymore. But literally high school boys, and then 4 years later, they're men. Young men, but men. And that's why I judge our success. I always kind of say, am I a good coach? Ask me 10 years from now, when these kids are husbands and fathers and business owners or teachers or coaches, then I'll know if I was a good coach. And I got invited to 3 weddings this summer. I'm going to try to make 2 of them. I know I saw Coach Lunt had one of his former players that some of you guys from Southern Oregon know. Cole Meyer played for Coach Lunt. If you guys don't know Cole Meyer, he's Grants Pass now, but he played for Coach Lunt, played in Mexico. I don't know if I know Cooper's worked out with him. Joel knows him, but he's not playing anymore. He's just down in
No,
Southern Oregon.
no, he's still playing.
He's still playing. Okay. He's on a break though, because he got married yesterday, right?
Yeah, but his season's not right now. They start up. He'll report back in August, end of August, September. So, but he's on his
So
ninth
that's
year.
ninth year playing professionally, played for Coach Lance. So it's not impossible to play professional basketball, but it is difficult to get a paycheck to do it. That's why we emphasize being extremely well-rounded and more diverse than just a good hooper. I like the saying basketball has two O's. It's good, not God. Or gods, right? Whatever it is somebody worships, basketball can be taken away. So two O's, good, not God. But it's a game and it can be taken away. It's the greatest game in my opinion. It's my favorite game of all the games out there, but it is a game. And so being invited to weddings and during the spring season, Coach Lunt and I got to take pictures with kids that we knew when they were high school kids, obviously, and just seeing those guys going off now doing big things. I talked to Luke Winkler just the other day, and he's in Europe right now, trying to get a contract. So I was looking to see if he was hosting open gyms. Did he get one or?
Well, no, he had a great Friday. He had his first trap practice, and he played really, really well. So it was funny because the first thing he says to me, he goes, "All we did was pick and roll." He's like, "Coach, I'm so grateful. That's all we did in our program." I'm like, "Yep, no, that's the NBA game, or the professional game." So yeah, he's enjoying it. He's actually going to call me tomorrow with another update. So yep, doing big things.
That's awesome. If you guys don't know who Luke Winkler is, do some research. He's led the nation in steals and assists at Pacific, first team all conference performer on the floor, graduated with a high GPA, and probably gonna be a doctor when he retires. His mom's a doctor, but he's gonna chase his professional basketball dream right now while he's young and can do it. So he's traveling around Europe trying to get a contract, and he'll find a place because he doesn't look like he's gonna give you a triple double because he's a 6 foot guard, but he's had triple doubles at the college level and 34 points, 12 assists, 9 rebound game. That's not the triple double, but Luke's a great young man from Grant High School in Portland that played for Coach Lunt at Pacific. And those guys, sometimes they come around to practices and play with our guys with grit. It's kind of fun. We do have 4 players at least that are going off to playing college this fall on the pink team. So that's pretty cool. So you younger guys that are freshmen, gonna be freshmen, are gonna get to see players that are where you want to be. At least I think that most of the guys in grit want to play at the college level. We have 4 guys. So 3 of them are from Valley Catholic. One of them's going to Calvin University back in Michigan. The other 2 are coming to Pacific. And then we have a player from Horizon Christian who's played with Grit for a couple of years, who's also coming to Pacific. So it's pretty cool that those younger guys are going to get to meet those older players. The older players are going to get to do some mentoring and kind of working with the younger guys because it's 30 players, 26 to 30, but it's one program. So we encourage the guys to interact. We require some of it. And they're adding each other on Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and getting to know each other. And that's something that is important to me, is seeing kids that have a zest for life. I mean, like I said, I love basketball, but I'd rather be a good husband and a good father than a good basketball coach. And I love theater. I just got to see Hamilton a couple of months ago. I've seen Wicked. So I'm not just only one thing. I love basketball junkies, but I like players that have a zest for life and find passions outside of basketball. Doesn't mean when you're playing basketball, you better have your mind on the game, because if you don't, it will show and you will be called out. And so be at where your feet are at. One of my other favorite quotes, I have two quotes to leave us with. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So who do you hang out with? Who do you spend time with? Who are you going to the lunches with at school? You can be a great kid, but if you're hanging around a bunch of rotten apples, pretty soon you're going to become rotten too. So show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And this is my other favorite one, that if your actions don't line up with your goals, change your goals or change your actions. So if your actions, like what you do every day, if those actions and your habits and your daily behavior aren't in alignment with your goal, then you need to change that goal or change your habits and daily actions. Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed. You can't have $1 million dream on a minimum wage work ethic. You can't say I want to play in college, but then not get in the gym. You can't say I want to play in college and eat Doritos and Oreos and Funyuns for all your meals. You can't do that. You're going to be disappointed. All things in moderation. I do love Oreos too, but unfortunately, you can't have them for every meal because they don't count for all the food groups. But if your actions don't line up with your goals, then change your goals. Be realistic or change your actions. And so we've worked really hard to build a positive, inclusive culture with grit. And so that's why the players that are listening live, all of you guys have been hand selected to be a part of this program. If you're listening on replay and you're thinking about joining the squad, know that it is bigger than basketball. You're going to be asked to do things outside of basketball. And I'm not sure, I can't remember if it was Dave or Joe, but I love that you said that you're taught why. And I know I kind of think of toughness. I heard Jay Billis on a podcast the other day, and he wrote an article about toughness. And everyone says, be tough, be tough. How do you define it? And Jay Billis wrote an article defining it. It's not forearming somebody or a cheap shot or being dirty. Being tough is fighting through a screen late in the game when you're tired. That's being tough. Being tough is when you're down and you don't want to keep going, you keep going. But cheap shots, that's not tough. Being tough is mentally and physically. And we do have a mental training piece where we have Colin Henderson. That's going to be, we'll do that for the 3 weeks. So there will be extra assignments. There are 60 to 90-second videos and a few questions, but Colin Henderson's phenomenal. He's a great mental trainer, and because you can train your body, mind, and craft. Most people train their body, most people are training their craft, but very few are training their mind. And so I want to be the program where you're getting that palms down approach. I got this. It's under control. You don't rise to the level of the situation, you fall to the level of your preparation. Navy SEAL stuff right there. You don't just all of a sudden get in this situation and all of a sudden you just rise up and perform. No, that doesn't happen. You sink to the level of your preparation. So success is when preparation meets opportunity. And you guys don't know when that opportunity is going to present itself. And every time we practice in Portland, you're going to have a head college coach in the gym. You're going to have former college coaches in the gym. So you never know when somebody's going to walk in and know somebody or know something that's going to change the trajectory of your future. So success is when preparation meets opportunity. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You're always ready. You don't have to start cramming. So if you're going to try to get up 500 makes on Saturday before our tryout next Sunday, you're wrong. You need to get in and do the progress, do the work, prepare. And so it's about 4 o'clock by my computer. So I appreciate you guys. If you're still listening to this on replay, drop your favorite part of the call. That way I know you made it the whole hour. If you're still listening on replay, if you're listening live, thank you guys for sticking around the whole time. If you want to, or you feel like you want to drop what your favorite part of the call was, feel free to do that too. But if you're watching on replay, let me know. We'll say goodbyes. Coach Lunt, what do you got?
So I just wanted to finish up. I was actually Tyler and I were texting while the Zoom call was going on. Just wanted to check in on him, see how everything was going. So recommendation for all players and even parents, it's extremely valuable. There's a book called Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy. It became famous because one of the wide receivers, AJ Brown for the Philadelphia Eagles, is on the sideline reading it. I've read it. I finished it, and then I go through it probably at least once a week. I don't know why he was reading it on the sidelines, because from a sidelines perspective, I don't know how it was helpful. It's an extremely helpful book. Don't get me wrong, but just it's not a quote type book. It's actually like walks you through things to help you improve with your inner side, your mental side. But it's a really, really good read. We have all of our players reading it. There's like actually journal writing in it too, but I highly recommend reading it. Parents, it's a great read. I mean, a lot of valuable lessons out of it. So Tyler and I were texting. I told Tyler, I said, you need to read it. And then we're going to check back in after that. The other thing that I just wanted to touch on, because I heard a really good podcast this week about super skills. And one of the skills that they were talking about was energy. And I'm a big, in our program, we have 4 core values. We don't have a lot because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. So I got to keep things really, really simple for me. But one of our core values is what we call circle of control. And this podcast was about 15 minutes long. And it was focused on energy. And a couple of things I just wanted to share with you guys, just because I think it's a good, just a good reminder, especially during the off season when you're out of school and maybe not necessarily like in a routine as far as having to get up, to go to school and do all this stuff. So a lot of times you can get caught sleeping in, you can get caught, not doing anything because you really don't have anything on the docket. But one of the things they talked about with energy was a couple of things that took out of it. Number one, energy is a choice, not a condition, which really hits home with me. Just with the whole idea of circle of control and focusing on the things you can control and the things you can't control. And we really emphasize that with our players, but that really hit home with our circle of control value, that energy is a choice. It's not a condition. And then the other thing about it is be an energy creator, not an energy catcher. And this was something that I'm not really big into motivation. I think two things. One, I hate self-help books that have a lot of fluff and don't have a lot of concrete purpose. And then as far as motivation goes, if you're always trying to hunt out motivation to get you going, you are going to be in a roller coaster of a ride as far as creating your own energy. So the creating energy and then catching energy really hit home with me. One of the examples Kite used with being an energy catcher is if you're always relying on being an energy catcher, sometimes it's going to be great, right? Brought up an example of bringing up being in a basketball game and things are all going your way and the crowd is lifting you up so that you're catching all the energy from the crowd, which is leading your energy. Well, that's great. And that's going to help in those moments. But if you're reliant on being an energy catcher, what happens when, we all know this, when someone who's having a bad day or is in a bad mood, walks into a room? What's a tendency that happens with that? You kind of follow suit with that bad energy that person is bringing to the table. And so, yeah, there's highs of being a catcher and there's a lot of lows of being a catcher, but being a creator is what you can focus on and what you can do on a day-to-day basis. And that really all starts with, what's fueling your attitude and your action. So final thing I wanted to just leave with you all is focus on being energy creators, not energy catchers. And I bet if you do that on a day-to-day basis, that's really, really going to help with your creating your self-motivation to go out and be better every day. So saw that podcast or listened to that podcast this week. I talked to a few of our guys about it and just wanted to share with you guys about that.
That was Kite. Coach, that was Kite. And what Inner Excellence, who's the author of that one, Coach?
Jim Murphy. And like I said, I do not like things with fluff. I'm anti. I need data. I need, how do you go about doing this? I don't want you to say, hey, just smile and 2 thumbs up and everything's going to be great. Like, I'm just not big on that stuff. And Inner Excellence has a lot of just, how do you go about doing things to better yourself? It's got what we would call, Tyler, what's a POA mean?
Plan of action.
Exactly. And we talk a lot about that with our team, but it's got a lot of plan of action in it, which I think is, if you're going to improve, you've got to have a POA. So really good book. And then that energy podcast I listened to, being a creator, not a catcher, was really valuable.
That's great. I got that down. Creator, not catcher. Be a giver, not a vampire. When you walk into the room, you should impact the energy in the room, not just adapt to it. So good stuff. Coach Jesse, do you have any parting shots, anything you want to leave us with before you get back in the pool? I think you might have just hit the wrong button, it looks like. Looks like he was looking for the unmute. No, he's back. Hopefully the phone didn't fall in the water. We'll give him a second to see if he gets back. But I appreciate you guys joining. Looking forward to working with you, Max. Known your family for quite a while. Went to high school with your parents. Your brother was on those.
I'm back, Grant. Sorry about that.
My brother. There's Joel. Joel, can you hear us? We got you.
Yeah, I can now. Sorry, something went funky. Well, anyways, the last
All
thing I
good.
want to do, one of the acronyms that I use, I really feel like these are skills that each player has to work on continuously. Kind of goes a little bit with what Coach Lunt was saying, but I teach my players that play for me the acronym of EAT, effort, attitude, and toughness. That are skills that you have to have as a player that works for that joins our team. So that'll be something that I'll be talking to a lot of our incoming freshmen that are on the black team when I have the opportunity, as a recipe for success. And hopefully within the month of July.
Eat.
Sorry, having difficulties with my phone there, Brant. But anyways,
At least you didn't drop it in the
glad
water.
to be here. No, I didn't. Glad to be here. Glad to be part of the Grit family. And did everybody hear my EAT acronym, EAT? Did you get that, Brant?
Effort, attitude. Anybody pick up the
And
T?
toughness.
Toughness. Attitude.
Yes, that
Effort,
and those
attitude,
are all
toughness.
skills. And those are all skills that players should learn to adapt to get to that next level. I'm sure Coach Lunt would be very happy to get a player in his program at the collegiate level that always comes with effort, that has an amazing attitude, and that always plays tough.
Let's eat. All right, everyone. Well, thanks again for joining. We have a lot of quotes and catchphrases and stuff like that. And some things are cliche, but there's a reason things get to that point. But it helps me remember things. Acronyms, like Coach said, we've got 4. We have 4. You don't just play for the name on the front of the jersey, you play for the name on the back of the jersey also. Some programs, or you play for the name on the front, but you're also representing your family, your moms and dads. So we play for the name on the front and the back. Okay. Anybody have anything? I'm going to go ahead and hit unrecord.
Go Pacers.